It's time to revisit an old friend.
We are somewhere in the English countryside on the trail of the biggest beast of them all, the Vote Leave bus.
It's 2 years since we chased this bus around the country, but the promise on its side still lives on. Now the government says it's about to start spending the Brexit dividend on the NHS. But do its sums actually add up?
The short answer is no. That dividend was supposed to be all about how we'll no longer have to pay into the EU budget once we leave, but we're still paying in for the next 4 or 5 years. And even if we didn't, we wouldn't necessarily be able to spend all that money on the NHS. Here's why. Consider what happened last year. We paid £18.6 billion, just over £350 million a week, by the way, into the EU. We got back £5.6 billion in a rebate and £4.1 billion in the money the EU spends here on farmers' special projects and so on. And that leaves £8.9 billion. So if we weren't paying that to Brussels, could we go out and spend it? Not quite, because at the same time, the government's also making about £9.9 billion less in tax revenues because the economy is that bit weaker post-referendum. Subtract that, and there's no dividend, but a Brexit deficit of £1 billion.
How will that go down, given that at the time, that's what voters felt they were being promised?
If this money, if money doesn't go into this NHS, I will go mad.
I don't.
So the Prime Minister would be wise to tread carefully here.
Without a Brexit dividend, we'll have to find another way of getting that £4 billion or so for the NHS. So you could raise the basic rate of income tax by a penny, and that would get you some of the way. You could raise the higher rate by 3p or cut everyone's tax-free personal allowance by a whopping £600. Alternatively, the Chancellor could cancel the planned cuts in corporation tax and fiddle around with national insurance.